Right, I'm our next guest now here on the Breakfast Show, XLR Kent. Where there's a will, there's a way. And joining me on the studio hotline now, we have the one and only Willie Thorne. Welcome to the show, Willie. It's an absolute honour to have you on this show this morning.
Very nice to be on the show too, not a problem.
And you are one of the most memorable characters from snooker in the 80s and into the early 90s. And we're looking at the world of snooker today. What has been your career highlights? I know you've had quite many of them.
Well, I mean, I won 14 tournaments around the world, but unfortunately I didn't manage to win one major.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably more famous for missing a very easy blue in the final championship many years ago against Steve Davis when I led 13-8 and ended up losing the match. And so many people in the 80s, because that's when the snooker was in its height, that loss rather than some of my wins.
Sure.
A little bit unfortunate.
Yes, that was very unlucky, Will. Do you still look back at that miss blue against Davis, or do you just put it down
Oh,
to...
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That really cost me not only a lot of money, but obviously cost me my confidence.
Sure.
For the next 2 or 3 years, I was struggling to get over the line. You know,
Sure.
I lost a Werbenet from 10-8 in front 11-10. I lost another game from Eddie Charlton from 12-9 in front 13-12. So what it did was dented my confidence. That was the big problem with that match.
Okay. I've been looking at some statistics, actually, but you got your own back on Davis on 1986 at the Matchroom Trophy final, beating him 10-9.
Yeah, I did beat Davis. I don't know how many times I actually beat him total, but I mean, Steve Davis was obviously like the Ronnie O'Sullivan today or the Stephen Hendry of yesterday. Davis obviously dominated, the 80s, and I was very lucky to be around. And it was one of those players that you had to play well to beat.
Sure.
I had a very bad record against him, but a lot better than most.
Sure. And also, you were the first to knock out a young Stephen Hendry in the first round of the World Snooker Championships. Not many people have done that.
Absolutely, made his crucial debut against me, and as a young little spotty kid, and I thought, oh, this would be no problem. I struggled to win 10-8, and then the following year, he beat me 10-8, and then we realised what a great player he was about to be, and he turned out to be one of the greatest of all time.
Of course. And you also featured on Chaz and Dave's Snooker Loopy. I bet that was a great story to tell the grandchildren.
Well, when they approached us to do it, and at the time snooker was like at its height because football was going through crowd violence, so snooker was almost the number one sport in the 80s. And Chaz and Dave approached Matchroom to do this song, and we all jumped at the chance. And it was obviously a great song. It got to number 5, I think, in the charts at one time. And if it wasn't for that chicken song that was number 1 for about 16 weeks, I'm sure I think we sold 45,000 records, which in today's era would have been definitely number 1.
Yeah,
but,
awesome.
It was a great experience. Yeah. Then we did another one called the Romford Rap. That zoomed up to number 86. And then we realised the pop industry wasn't for us.
Okay. And of course, Chaz and Dave, Chaz Hodges sadly passed away last month.
Yeah.
Were you saddened to hear the news?
Oh, absolutely, without doubt. I mean, Dennis Taylor and myself went down about 3 or 4 years ago, and we sang with Chaz and Dave on stage, and we sang obviously Snooker Loopy, and I put a lot of things on Twitter about Chaz because obviously, they made us more famous than we already were really in the 80s. The Matchroom Mob, there were 7 of us involved in that song. And he's sadly missed. He was a great songwriter. Very good songwriter.
Very good entertainer as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I know you've been quite open in the past about a gambling addiction, but in brief, in short, what is the best advice you could give someone or a loved one who may need some help who's going for this similar thing?
The thing is with professional sportsmen, you have lots of free time. I mean, footballers finish training at like 1 o'clock or something like that. They've got all the afternoons free, early evening. Snooker players practice in the mornings, and they've got all the afternoons free. The biggest problem with gambling is this online. I think the biggest problem also is the fact that when you talk about credit, I mean, credit cards and credit are the 2 biggest things that are going to cause a problem to all these people that have got spare time. It's an addiction. I went through it. I've not gambled now for 2 years, and I'm very, very glad to be out of it, albeit my life's not quite back on track yet because I was so far behind financially. But we're getting there, and I'm trying hard. I'm doing various different things, and slowly but surely getting out of the well, as it were.
Well done, and good for you, and very brave to share your experience. Hopefully, they can help other people maybe going through the same old scenario. And there is a gambling hotline where people can contact free of charge. If they need to speak to anyone, because they're not alone, are they?
Absolutely not. I mean, What the problem with gambling is, well, it causes depression. I've had a lot of depression over my life. The thing is, if you're losing your money and things like that, obviously you're going to get depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And it costs some people their marriage, it costs some people, their jobs, their industry or whatever they're doing. So gambling is very, very hard, and I think there's too much credit available in the world today.
Okay, and great, moving on. We wanted to know if you have any exhibition shows or appearances coming up where we can come and see you or maybe greet you.
Well, funny enough, tonight as we speak, I'm in Wales. I don't play anymore because my eyes have gone, but in saying that, I have had lens replacement about 2 months ago, so I'm trying to play again because the senior tour is getting quite big. I've done a few nights with Ronnie O'Sullivan where I host and things like that, and tonight I'm doing Mark Williams in Wales, so that'll be a thrill, because obviously he's kind of, reinvented himself over the last year, and is a current world champion, and, to be interested to see how well he's playing.
Wonderful. And, when snooker players grow older, is losing eyesight quite a common problem?
I think the main thing is nerve. You do lose your nerve. I mean, obviously, eyesight was a big problem with me. That's why I had to pack in. At the time, I was doing all the commentary with the BBC and Sky, which unfortunately I lost the BBC, well, part of the BBC contract last year, which has been another body blow for me. But, these things are sent to try us. But
sure.
It's certainly one of the things that goes first, your eyesight. But certainly the nerve is very, very close second.
And keep ploughing on then, Will. And you also featured on Strictly Come Dancing. How was that experience for you? And have you been watching it this year as well?
Absolutely. I must admit, years and years ago when X Factor and Strictly was on at the same time, my wife wanted to watch Strictly. I said, I'm not watching that. I'm watching people dance. I want to watch X Factor. Well, of course, when I was on the show, I danced with the lovely Aaron Bogue, and Elisa Dixon won the year I was on. All of a sudden now, I tape all the shows on the Saturday and Sunday. I watch Take Two every night. So I'm now addicted.
Great stuff.
And it was a great experience being on it.
Oh, wonderful. It looks like you had a right old blast on there, Will.
I lost 2.5 stone when I was on it, and then playing golf broke my leg and put 3 stone on. So I'm half a stone worse off.
Oh, never mind. And any thoughts on that controversial kiss this week between Sean Walsh and Katja Jones?
Well, the thing is with that, it's so easy because you're so close to your partners all the time. I mean, I spent like 5 weeks with Aaron every single day, and just on the waltz alone, it took 52 hours to learn the waltz. And then the thing is, I mean, there's been so many affairs that it is on Strictly. I think that was just a drunken kiss. I feel sorry for them, really. I mean, one's happily married, the girl's happily married, and Sean's got he's got his own girlfriend. I think it was just a mad thing. I mean, when you're drunk, I've never been drunk, so I don't know what it's like. And so it's no excuse. I mean, obviously, some people are more careful, but, hopefully it'll all settle down now, and hopefully they'll continue to dance.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll blow over. I guess these things happen. And finally, who will win, Will?
Who will win this year?
Yeah, do you know?
There's so many good ones. There's so many good ones. Honestly, I'm just trying to think out loud now. I think there's 2 or 3 candidates. But I'm going to keep that under my hat, because I hate to say somebody, then they get voted out of the next round.
Great stuff. And that about wraps it up, Will. Thanks for sharing your experiences, and very best for the future, and keep up the good work.
Nice to talk to my friend. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Thank you very much.